Hi, everybody. It's June 12th, 2024. I'm in my happy place at the local McDonald's. It's super busy. Everybody's having fun. It's kind of cold out. I got up early and I tried to get my 10,000 steps in early. I was on the road at 25 after 7. And I've gotten in, I think, about 7,700 steps so far. Anyways, so while I was walking, I was thinking a lot. As you guys know, I've been posting these videos as a journal of dealing with the trauma of the separation from my brother with Down syndrome, Paul Kierans. He was isolated and confined to his group owned by L'Arche. That's a cult, worldwide cult that affiliates itself with the Roman Catholic Church, but really is not affiliated, and it's paid huge amounts of money by taxpayer money by governments. They like L'Arche because it purports itself to be affiliated with the Catholic Church, and because none of the workers are unionized. The workers are kind of young people passing through Canada, speaking English as a second language. I never saw the same group of workers there, caregivers, 2 days in a row in all the 30 years that I visited Paul at L'Arche. I fought very hard when the L'Arche terminated my visits. Their lawyer, Tara Britnell, terminated my visits with my little brother after 30 years when I complained about a forgery, a document that they created appointing my 81-year-old nun sister 4,000 kilometers away in Ontario as his substitute decision maker. So when I complained about that forgery, they terminated my visits with them so I couldn't get a recent sample of his signature. And I fought, through the courts as hard as I could, as long as I could. I did everything I could dream of. I contacted every agency. I just got an email from the British Columbia Ombudsman asking me to follow up with a complaint through them for the Human Rights Commission. Just they wouldn't set down a date for my complaint with them. So where things stand right now is I have an application for leave to appeal or permission to appeal the decision of the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal dismissed my appeal of the appointment of the nun 4,000 kilometers away in Ontario as my brother's guardian, and they dismissed my appeal of the dismissal of my petition to be appointed his guardian. So as I now know, on April 13th, L'Arche told my sister that my brother had a stroke. They didn't tell me at all. It took her 2 days to get herself organized and to get to Burnaby General Hospital. They didn't tell me till she was safely ensconced by his side. She's an evil, evil, evil person. I think she's a narcissist, a psychopath, sociopath. There's all kinds of nuns. There's Mother Teresa, and then there's people like my evil sister. So I got an email 8 o'clock on April 15th, Monday, April 15th, from my sister's lawyer saying I could arrange a visit through him. He's a young piece of, S-H-I-T. He's a disgrace to the legal profession. Makes me ashamed that I was ever a lawyer. He's sunk so low. Anyway, so he emails me and he says I could arrange a visit with my brother through him. So I hopped in a cab and raced to Burnaby General. I was there within the hour of getting that email. and I was allowed a 10-minute visit with Paul. Paul seemed to be sleeping, but he squeezed my hand. He was on a ventilator. He was on a normal ward for seriously ill people, but he wasn't in intensive care or anything like that. But when I said, "Paul, it's Kathleen," he squeezed my hand so tight, like a steel vice. Nobody's ever squeezed my hand so tight, and he just clung to me. And then I was allowed. I met with someone who said that they were a doctor. A guy told me he was a doctor, Dr. Pham, and I now know or believe he was not a doctor at all. He took me in a back room and said that if I came on the ward again, he'd have me arrested by the police. I've never been treated so brutally by hospital staff. That was the trauma. It was the conduct of the hospital staff that was the trauma. So the next visit, I went to see. I was allowed to see Paul for 10 minutes. I brought a big coffee table book with old Hollywood movie stars like Clark Gable. And when Paul saw the book, his eyes were open. It appeared that his right side was less affected than his left side. So he grabbed the book with his right hand and started turning the pages perfectly, page by page, and scanning the photos appropriately. And I couldn't believe my eyes. I was just thrilled. And he seems very happy to see me. He did not seem to be in pain at all. He seemed to be recovering. He looked a lot better than the first time I saw him. And I just thought, what a miracle, what a miracle. And I posted a little note on my Facebook page that's open to the public. Anybody can see my Facebook post. And the next day, my sister must have gone to the piece of shit her lawyer's office and swore a big, long, I think it was like 8-page affidavit about how my brother had not set up and he didn't turn the pages of the book. So I knew she wanted him dead. He had to die real quick because she had to get back to her 4,000 kilometers to her convent. She's a frail, fat, old nun. She cannot stay, has no place to stay in British Columbia. Nobody wants her here. And I knew she wanted him dead. But he's, like his indomitable self was not going to go along with her wishes. So a doctor, somebody who looked like a real doctor, but a real sleazy one, Dr. Michael Baker, came out what I did was I just sat in the hallway 12 hours a day, every day that he was there. He was dead by April 23rd. The sleazy doctor came out and he said, "Oh, May told me to tell you something." And I said, "My brother better be alive at 9 o'clock. I've got a hearing before a judge on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and my brother better be alive at 9 o'clock. Because I knew she would try and do the medical assistance in dying on him. She did it with my mother. She withdrew all medical support for my mother when my mother was dying of cancer. And, people have to, go along with her timeline. She's got a timeline, and if you're dying, you better bloody well be able to follow it. So I went to court, and I did not get my visitation extended by the judge. The judge acted in an unusual way, let's put it that way. And I raced back to the hospital, and when I came so by that point, I knew that my sister really wanted my brother dead. So I she moved him to the palliative care ward into this great big room with a curtain across the door. So the medical staff couldn't see what she was up to. And she was there with a worker, an evil worker from L'Arche, L'Arche, the cult. And they wouldn't let me near him, but my sister, and she wouldn't look me in the eye. The fat old nun, ugly, evil, ugly, psychopathic nun. Anyways, she said, Paul's dying, say goodbye. And he did look dead. His eyes were glassy and staring up at the ceiling. He did not squeeze my hand at all. He did look dead. And of course, she made me leave after 10 minutes. So then I get an email from her saying, Paul's died, you can come look at the body. I'll keep the body here until 2:15, you can come look at the body. And that was the end. So I never cried, not shed one tear, not one tear. And I'm a big crier, I think. So where things stand now is, what I did was I still went ahead and filed my application for leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada. And what I'm asking them to do is recognize that incapable adults need to have their rights to visit other family members protected. In the United States, this is called the Peter Falk Law, F-A-L-K. That's because Peter Falk, who was the actor who starred in the detective series Columbo, which I love, he had a stroke in the 70s, and his daughter his adult daughters were not allowed to visit him. His second wife, their evil stepmother, wouldn't permit them to visit their father after he had a stroke. And so Catherine Falk, his daughter, created the Peter Falk Institute. And 22 states in the United States have enacted uniform guardianship reform for incapable adults. Like with Britney Spears, you know how Britney Spears was in a conservatorship for many years, past the point that if she ever should have been in one. So there's been guardianship reform. And what I'm asking the Supreme Court of Canada to do is to enact Paul's Law in Canada so that even legally appointed guardians cannot isolate and confine incapable adults from their other loved ones. This happens more frequently than you would want to believe because families have issues and legal guardians use the power that they have over the incapable adult to retaliate against family members they don't like for whatever reason. And that's what happened with my sister and I. Nobody likes her. She's not on good terms with anyone. And she doesn't like me, and I don't like her. So she terminated my visits. So that's it for today. I'm going to go back to my house and back to my desk and try and get some more work done today. But I feel it's been productive. Please continue to support us. I only have $193.83 left in the GoFundMe account. But most importantly, pray for us. Go to your temple, your synagogue, your mosque, your gurdwara, your church, and just pray for us, or pray for us where you're sitting right now. I can feel your prayers. I'm taking on the deepest pockets in Canada. The British Columbia government, of course, is behind all this because they paid L'Arche to hurt my brother, to isolate and confine him. And I delivered a letter to them every single day that he was, from November 17th of 2023 until he died, asking for them to restore visits, or no, actually asking just for them to meet with me about my complaint, and they never did. they never did. They were very proud of the fact that they never met with me to just. So, Howard, if you're a person like a member of the public or anyone, and you can make a complaint, like their excuse was, they said, "Well, you're not the guardian, so we can't discuss this with you." Well, it will always be people other than the guardian that complain about abuse of incapable adults. Anyways, so pray for us, contribute to our GoFundMe account. That gives me a lift like you wouldn't believe. And copy and paste the email that I'll put in the description box for this video. And send it right now from your email address. You have no idea how powerful that is. Show them that you still care about Paul. He's not forgotten, because I have not forgotten him. There's a lot of people out there just like Paul who are being hurt the way that he was hurt. And people and agencies, cults like L'Arche, are being paid big bucks to hurt our most vulnerable citizens. The only people that should be in charge of vulnerable citizens are, like my brother Paul, should be people who have to respond to the electorate. It should not be, my friend Jessica Vanderveen said, the reason that the government puts people like Paul in group homes operated by L'Arche is so that they can hold our most vulnerable seniors or most vulnerable citizens at arm's length. And it shouldn't be that way. So if I have a complaint about my brother's care, the person responsible should be answerable to the electorate. So I should be able to vote that person out. So thank you everybody for watching. Paul, I miss you so much. I took so many pictures of flowers today, and every time I see a daisy, I think it's you saying hi to me. I love you, dear. Take care.